Hi everyone, welcome to Out of the Box Room, where I'm joined by travel industry professionals to talk and to share experiences, both personal and professional, straight out of my box room turned into an office. Please don't forget to like, to share, and most important, to come back for more. My guest today is Harry Stavrou, Director at Beyond Certainty. Good morning, Harry, and welcome to the box room. Of course, we know each other for a long time, but could you please introduce yourself to our viewers?
Good morning, Patricia. Glad to be in the box room with you this morning. My name's Harry Stavrou, and I run an events management company called Beyond Certainty. And this year, happily enough, it's our 20th year, where we would have, thank you, where we would have hoped to have had a big party. It's something that we're going to look at probably, hopefully, doing in September to celebrate our 20th year in the events industry.
Well, I look forward to that. So,
thank you.
Harry, with COVID-19, the whole hospitality industry was, everything was shut and the whole outlook was very sad. But I have to say, with events, it must have been tragic. So do you want to tell us a little bit what happened with coming March and your bookings, and how was it for you?
As of March 2020, it was probably something that we could never have ever imagined. I mean, we all, I'd never heard of the word furlough before March of 2020. So many things that we learned. So we have a team of 14 people. Every single one of them I believe it was the 18th of March, we've said to everybody, take the laptops home. We're not sure what's happening. We don't know what's happening, but I'm sure we'll be back in a couple of weeks. And that was literally the beginning of a roller coaster of emotions, a roller coaster of, clients calling us, wedding clients, corporate clients, international clients saying, we don't know what's going to happen. And that was the beginning of the COVID for us. And thankfully, I'm happy to say that, we've managed all of our clients to, we've moved bookings from 2020 to 2022 because there isn't enough certainty or dates, shall we say, in 2021. It's been a hell of a learning curve for all of us. I mean, no one would have envisaged this happening. I think Boris Johnson said, we'll be back to some normality in 12 weeks. And that was March 2020. And we're still waiting for this normality to come back to us. And yes, rightly so, the events industry was the first industry to go. And the biggest issue that we've had is that the government do not understand the events industry. They don't understand what it entails, how many people it employs, the amount of revenues brought into the country. And, I don't want to dismiss the fact that, there is a global pandemic and people have been very sick and worse. We don't want to disregard that. But when we talk, for example, to our local council and say, we need to apply for these grants, we need some help, we don't want to make anyone redundant, we don't want to lose our office, we want everybody to be able to come back to work. Unfortunately, the council, they've advised us, well, you could still keep working, and we've said, but we can't keep working because the hotels, the venues, the hospitality, the number of people, none of this is allowed. So, we've been unable to work, so to speak.
Because of course, with you have hotels, lines, restaurants, there's a whole package coming with it. So you're right to say the event industry is connected to the livelihood of much extensive industry. Wow. And let me ask you, of course, with events, there are a lot of emotions because you do plan not just corporate events, but also personal events,
Yeah.
some very important like weddings or anniversaries. So it must have been incredible and sad for these people not only to cancel, but also they are known, and for you and your team, of course, and all in the event industry. It's just this unknown. You said 2 weeks and would have been fine, and instead, look, it's 14 months.
Wow.
But I believe you did try to do some virtual events. I mean, I know you, and you are incredibly positive, and you wanted to do something. So you even invited me to some of your virtual events. You want to speak a little bit about it?
Yeah, we started doing virtual events last summer. They were pretty popular, pretty much, everyone enjoyed them. What we did, we converted our warehouse into a studio with a green screen. So we were able to have, we could have been sitting in Slough, and, the image behind the presenter could have been anywhere in the world. And we were literally having conferences, events where we would have someone there. They'd be talking to a wide range of people around the world. We had cocktail masterclasses take place where we had arranged bespoke boxes to be sent to recipients' home. And then we'd have our cocktail master there on screen, live in their home, telling them how to mix the cocktail. We had magicians, we've had comedians, we've had DJs for Christmas parties. But I think, as you said, 14 months in, people are all zoomed out. They don't want to be on Zoom anymore. I mean, I think I'm fed up, and this is something we were speaking about a couple of weeks ago. I miss seeing the beautiful smiles of people. I miss being out and just saying hello to someone, and I miss, you miss that interaction, that human interaction, which is what our people within the events and travel industry are known for. We're known for meeting people. We're known for constantly talking to people and being social. So unfortunately, the virtual events, where we loved them at the beginning, I think people are now a little bit fed up of them. They want to get to some element of normality. They want to have, they want to see their friends that they've known for many, many years. And even the weddings, I mean, we had a couple of virtual ceremonies, but again, if I'm honest with you, it's something where there was no, the grandparents weren't there, the distant uncle, your cousin who you grew up with, they were all missing. And yes, they were watching it live, and, in spirit, everyone's attending, but it's not the same. It's not the same of kind of embracing everyone. And we're both Mediterranean, so we know how that feels to us. I mean, with my my mother, last year we taught her how to use FaceTime, and it was just not being able to be with your mother and seeing her. So we taught her FaceTime. She's now got a smartphone, and she's interacting with family and friends around the world, which is an element of that is positive. But we want to see our mother every day. We want to embrace her. We want to see our aunties and uncles, and it's the same within the events industry. So, you're going to have a virtual event, you're going to have a virtual wedding, but it's whole
not the
personal,
same, is it?
It's not the same. No. It's not the same. No. And as I said, I think people are zoomed out. We want to, going back to the events industry, the events and travel industry relies on so many different factors where, you and I will book an event in, East London. Your delegates will use London Transport to get there. They'll buy a newspaper from, the little shop outside the station. They'll hopefully buy a coffee from one of the small independents. Then they'll need a taxi to get to the venue, for example. So there's so many different elements of what we do and the amount of people it affects. I mean, yes, it affects the big corporates and the big banks and everyone, but it's all the little people. I mean, we're a small family-owned events management company, and the impact that we have on us, on the, economy here in London is when you start adding everything together, it's huge, let alone the big corporate event companies who do thousands and thousands. I mean, we're a small company, and we still have, you know, our events are 300 people and 200 people. It affects every single person along that chain.
Yeah, yeah, you are right. And do you think now with you know, the measure a little bit more relaxed, you have seen, you have perhaps organized already something within the lines of you know, the government guidelines? Have you organized anything as yet, or is sorry, or is just planning? I was saying
it's we've had to stick to the government guidelines naturally, but we are, as long as everything opens to plan on the 21st of June, our first large event is on the 25th of June. So we're pretty positive. And, you know, we have had to continue planning from the 21st of June onwards as if everything's going to go back to normal, because we want to be positive. We want to, you know, with these trial events that they've been having in Liverpool, for example, it gives some confidence to the industry, because without, you know, without these trial events, then, you know, it kind of, we need to prove that we can do things in a safe manner. I mean, there was a great joke where it was left, if the vaccine rollout was left to the events industry, you know, everyone would have had their vaccine by now. Everyone would have had their ticket. They would have left with a goodie bag, and, you know, we would have been back to normal by now. But yes, we are positive.
Sure.
The government are doing a good job. We just need to kind of put our faith in them that they're going to allow us to get back to work from the 21st of June.
Okay. And tell me, which sector has made more inquiries, more personal or corporate? Because I'm sure you are getting inquiries for events. Which one is more interested in restarting or showing an interest?
Well, I've got to be honest with you. It's probably 50% of you know, private, 50% corporate. So the corporates where we had events booked for January, February, March of this year, we've moved them all on from the beginning of July. So as of the 1st or 2nd of July, we have corporate events, and, you know, during the week, and at the weekends we have private events. So we have, you know, 41st birthdays, because 40th birthdays weren't allowed last year. So the new trend is your 41st birthday or your 51st birthday. So we've moved.
Yeah.
So we've moved them on for next year. We have belated christening parties. We have a multitude of events that we work with our, you know, our partners with. So there's one corporate client who's having their 55th anniversary, which was last year. We're doing it this year. We have corporate events which take place abroad that we moved from last year. And I've got to go back to one thing. We've been very, very fortunate because we've been around for so long. We've worked with all of the hotels and the venues, and we have made sure that every single one of our clients and customers has not lost a penny throughout this whole pandemic. So if anyone had paid a deposit to us, we'd ensured that that deposit was either returned back to them or used as credit for a new date next year. And as you can imagine,
fantastic. Yeah, this is good, because a lot of people lament that they actually lost the deposit or, well, not just in the event. Sorry, I'm not saying the event, but also in travel. We have heard some people, have lamented not having had their money back. So the fact that you, in your supply chains with your hotels, your restaurant, have been able to withhold the funds that a private or a corporate has put in your trust. I think this is very good. This is very respectful.
Well, you know, it goes back to, I think, experience, and I think it's the same with you. I mean, because between us both, we have colleagues who have gone from one company to another company or to another company. So I think, you know, between us, we know the right people to talk to. So where the difficulty that we've had is that people on the front line have all been made furlough. So you can call, you know, the Hilton, you can call the Marriott, the Dorchesters, and there's times that the people that make the decisions, there's no one there to answer the phone. So by having the right, supply chain, as you said, and the context, we can talk to the vice president, or we can talk to a director to say, we need this action, the ASAP. And we've been so fortunate that our clients have all moved their events, or we've managed to get them their deposits back. So what it does mean is that the economy can still keep moving. So as of July, as I said, of this year, the events for us are back to back, with our first event being on the Friday, the 25th of June. And then from July onwards, we're hoping it's business back to normal, because we have a diary full of events that, we want to carry out.
But one thing, in fact, I was just about to ask you, when do you think we're going to go back to in a sort of new normal? Would you reckon that your attendees are going to be a little bit nervous of mingling? I've been into your events, a lot of people, a lot of drinks, and the people network, talk, and then you are a little bit a social butterfly, talking to one person, then into another one. People are going to be a little bit nervous now? Are they going to approach it in a different way, or you think it's going to be back to normal? And how long is going to be until we can see some normality or back to normal?
Well, if you had asked me this question before I think the 17th of April, when the outdoor restaurants had opened up here in the UK, I would have said yes, everyone's going to be very wary. People are going to be a lot more cautious. But looking at the scenes of Soho and the West End of London, and once all of these bars and outdoor restaurants had opened up, I mean, there was no social distancing whatsoever. I mean, the demonstrations a couple of weeks ago in central London, everyone was just so intertwined. But going back to the original question, we are, at all our events, we are always going to make sure that we are COVID safe. For this year, what we've tried to do, any events that we book from July onwards, is if it's 100 people, we'll make sure that the venue can fit a lot more than that 100 people. So if people, want to spread out, they can. We've made sure that, all of your anti-vax, there'll be masks, there'll be gloves available for anyone who feels more comfortable wearing those items. We've requested from the hotels that the staff wear masks, for example.
Maybe beyond the certainty mask, because you have a very nice logo, so it could be a kind of chic.
It could be. So we just want to make sure that the attendants they all feel comfortable. So, if we need to go a little bit extra and have those quick tests, we have an event on Saturday, the 3rd of July, where what we've arranged is that we're going to have those 15-minute test kits there. Whilst people are having a glass of champagne, they can have their test done, and then they can, decide whether they want to carry on or not. If something comes back negative, we'll say, here's a bottle of champagne. I'm sorry, you can't come in. And I think we just have to be as creative, because people need to feel comfortable. Yeah. And we don't want someone coming to an event, getting ill and then going somewhere else and making someone else ill. Because again, unfortunately, there's a little bit of resistance from some of the younger people on having their vaccine yet. I think they still need to find out what's happening. So we just want to make sure that everyone feels happy and safe when they come to one of our events.
Thank you. I think it's very important to reassure everyone, not just people coming to your events, but also their families and all of the nation as well. One last question. Did you think, having done virtual events, do you think there is one element that you can bring into your, person-to-person event, that you have something you have learned from virtual events, or something, one element that you think could be staying in the new normal?
100%. So where in the past we would have had some form of virtual event at conferences. So with a lot of conferences over the last, say, 6-7 years, where people have, tried maybe not to travel as much, we've always had an element of, virtual attendees at a conference, for example. And now with technology, we can, could do that very easily. I mean, we've even tried technology where we've had a hologram speaker kind of in the same room with you, wherever you are in the world, talking and presenting. So I think this will be something that we would probably introduce a lot more to our big conferences here in the UK. So, if there's someone who's in any part of the world, they can still be part of this conference. We can arrange for any part of any element of whatever package we're giving the individual. So again, going back to the goodie bag or the gifts, or have an element of, where some of the events that we've had a yoga instructor start the conference off. So, everyone can feel flexible and refreshed at the beginning of conference. We can, Zoom that, if you like, into people's homes or offices anywhere in the world. Whilst, you've still got your conference here in London taking place, people can still join in wherever they are in the world, as opposed to people worrying about traveling now. There's some countries that won't be able to attend the events for a long time, I think. Just looking at the government's traffic light system of countries that, who are on the red light, they won't be able to come to the UK for a long time. So by implementing some of this virtual technology that we've learned and kind of embraced over the last 14 months, I think it will make it easier for people to feel part of that conference and be with their teams.
Thank you. Harry Stavrou, you've been a super guest, and thank you very much. But before we go, you have to promise me you are going to invite me to your 20th, beyond certainty, 20th anniversary, because I know it's going to be fabulous executed, but most of all, a lot of fun. And trust me, I need that. I need that. I need a bit of
You are welcome anytime
in my life. Okay.
You are welcome anytime, I promise you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for being a guest at the Box Room. Thank you.
I'm happy to be here. Thank you.